So, is your sanity going off the roof? Do you not know how to take care of it? Are you having trouble with sanity issues and you don't know how to take care of it? Well, maybe I can help you. And with that being said, maybe you too will stop making the mistakes that most players who have sanity issues or issues with their sanity are making. But with that being said, hello everybody, Accureye here, and welcome back to another Accureye Talks video. And in today's Accureye Talks video, while that intro was probably a little witty and a little bit uncalled for, yeah, we are going to be talking about dealing with sanity and the common mistakes that I see people making to deal with the sanity. Because, let's face it, at the end of the day, sanity can be an issue. But there are ways to deal with it other than picking flowers. The number one mistake I see players make whenever they're dealing with sanity or trying to prepare their farms and whatnot for spring or even during autumn is the fact that they pick flowers so that they can prepare their berry farms and whatnot with rot. Obviously, rot is one way to prepare your berry farms and whatnot, but it's not a smart way to prepare your berry farms. And while I could go out over all the ways to prepare and, make smart decisions when planning your farms, today's video is focused more on sanity and how to work and, make your sanity not be a problem at the end of the day. So how do you do this? Well, one of the best ways is, of course, cactus. Now, I know what you're thinking. Cactus? Why would I ever pick cacti? What are cactus even good for? What's the point of cactus? It seems worthless to me. And, yeah, maybe it does. But, for those of you who don't know, cooked cactus, when cooked, cactus is one of the best items you could have in the game. Especially when it comes down to just supplying yourself with an immense amount of sanity. In fact, 5 to 6 cacti will boost your sanity up almost fully. And of course, if you're in winter like I am currently, then you probably have already noticed one thing on top of my head, which is the tam o' shanter. The tam o' shanter is also one of the other best ways to, of course, increase your sanity and just make it to where you can deal with the sanity issue, the sanity loss, if you will. And of course, with that having been said, it does make things easier. It will make your life a heck of a lot easier, and it'll make it to where you too can deal with, issues on your sanity, issues that you are maybe having when it comes down to just dealing with the sanity loss. I mean, sanity loss is something that many players have issues with, and there's no doubt about that. I have almost no doubt about, I've seen people who are like, I don't like the insane sounds. I don't like the being insane, the sanity loss and whatnot. And, I mean, let's face it, if you want to get some of the best times in the world, you're going to have to learn how to deal with the sanity. But I get what you mean. And like it is, the tam o' shanter brings your sanity up by 1 point during the day, almost indefinitely. Which, of course, means that you will almost never run out of sanity unless you absolutely are in a point where you need to, deal with it. Or you need to have nightmare fuel. But at the end of the day, once you get to tam o' shanter, you should be set for almost eternity. You're almost never going to need to change out of the tam o' shanter, and you can live and die with the tam o' shanter, if you will. And, I mean, it's one of the best times in the game once you found the McTusk camp and you found McTusk. But, I mean, I get it. If you have problems with your sanity, then there are other ways to deal with it. One of the other best ways to deal with your sanity and sanity loss would be the top hat. The top hat is a simple recipe. I believe it only costs about 12 silk. And with 12 silk, you can get that easily. Wearing the top hat increases your sanity way better than picking flowers. Now, I know, picking flowers is probably the easiest way to gain sanity. But in my opinion, don't pick flowers unless you're absolutely at the point where it's like, Accureye, I am literally going insane. I have no option but to pick flowers. I mean, if you have no option but to pick flowers, then pick flowers. But dealing with your sanity is fairly easy. I mean, of course, using food like taffy can deal with your sanity lickety split. And that's almost of no foul issue to you as a player when it comes to dealing with sanity. But I mean, if you're in that dire point where it's like, I can't stand it, Accureye, I need something to deal with my sanity right here, right now, then, I understand. I totally get the problem here. And, if that's the problem, then pick flowers and make a garland. Garlands are the cheapest and probably by far the quickest way to deal with your sanity easy. But, I mean, obviously, like I said, I would never recommend picking flowers unless you're absolutely at the point where it's like, Accureye, I just can't stand it anymore. I've got to do something to deal with my sanity right here, right now. And if that's the case, then yes, I understand. Go ahead and pick flowers and make a garland. But you can do anything other than picking flowers, I would recommend it. For instance, if you can just deal with your sanity by, for instance, just going ahead and making a top hat. Make the top hat and wear the top hat. The top hat will gain your sanity pretty well during the day, and it almost comes at nothing for you when it comes to cost. All you need to do is know how to deal with spiders and get the 12 silk. I believe it's 12 silk, and you just have to get the 12 silk. And then bada bing, bada boom. Besides that, the top hat is necessary if you want to, of course, create the prestidigitator. The prestidigitator requires the top hat. So, I mean, you're doing yourself a dual job by doing that. Of course, if you have the Tam Lantern, then I would recommend, of course, creating the sewing kit. The sewing kit allows you to repair your tam at no cost to you. And, I mean, with that being said, your Tam Lantern should last you indefinitely. And, yeah, those are the best ways to deal with sanity. As well as maybe ways to deal with the common mistakes that I see. People who are going insane and people who are like, Accureye, I can't stand it. I need to deal with my sanity right here, right now. And I can't deal with going insane, going loony for Cocoa Puffs. I can't stand the sandy-based noise. And, as I said, I understand that. I get that. I see where you're coming from, and I obviously have a somewhat good solution or somewhat solution for you when it comes down to it. But, I mean, obviously, as it is, dealing with sanity is not a big issue. It shouldn't be a huge problem for everybody. At the end of the day, you should be able to deal with your sanity almost with no issues. And, of course, if that's the case, and since that is usually the case, then, sanity almost is nothing to deal with. And it should be a big issue to you. It should just be like a laughable issue at best. But, I mean, with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this video has helped you with dealing with sanity, because I know that sanity can be a issue to deal with. It's hard to deal with. It's not something that everyone can live with. And, let's face it, at the end of the day, I get that. I understand that your sanity is something that is driving you crazy. It may drive you crazy. It may make you go like, Accureye, this is too much for me. I can't stand, I can't stand this. I gotta, get out of that loony state. And, as it is, of course, it makes sense that many of you do kind of end up wanting to get out of your loony or cuckoo for Cocoa Puff state. And, the best way to deal with it is, of course, wait till winter. Get a Tam Lantern and, and then live off the Tam Lantern. If the Tam Lantern is something that's just too hard for you to get because, let's face it, you lose sanity so quickly early game that it's now driving you to the point of, like, I don't want to have to deal with the shadow creatures or the nightmare creatures, then understandable. All you have to do is, of course, like I said, deal with it by, of course, by, of course, just going ahead and, and getting cacti. Get cactus. Get a top hat. Those are some of the easiest ways to deal with your sanity, and they're the cheapest ways to deal with your sanity without ever having to think about, about picking flowers. Now, I know picking flowers is easy. It's probably the recommended way. You hear many Don't Starve players or YouTubers say. Don't Starve YouTubers will say to you, hey, picking flowers is easy. They're renewable. You can do it. It's not hard to deal with your sanity if you're picking flowers. But I, contrary, will say, no, you shouldn't have to pick flowers to deal with your sanity. If you're truly a Don't Starve player, then you know how to deal with your sanity almost with no issues. It almost comes to you as being trivial. And it should come to you as being trivial because, let's face it, at the end of the day, it's nothing to deal with. It's laughable to deal with sanity issues and to have issues with your sanity. I mean, as it is, it should be pretty much laughable to you that, that people are having sanity issues. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, then you know what to do. Hit the like button, get subscribed, hit the bell notification because I know you want to know when my next video drops next. Thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. I am live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for about 4 to 5 hours, usually. But lately, I've also been live on Monday and Tuesday for about 2 to 3 hours. Monday and Tuesday, I'm usually live about 11:30 to 12 midnight PST. And I am still trying to come up with my schedule for Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. But with that being said, Saturday or Friday and Sunday are always bonus streams. Thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you for watching this video. And until the next one, everybody, this is Accureye signing out and saying farewell, everyone.